nothing's ever what we expect, but they keep asking where we're going next.
Happy Friday everyone and welcome to Melbourne 22. I'm Lisa Williams. We've got a huge show for you tonight and I've got to say it's just a little bit quirky. We visit the Australian Centre for the Moving Image, catch up with two Melbourne-based artists and dive into the world of cosplay events. But first, drag out your chain armour and wield your sword. It's time to play Swordcraft. This is Patrick and during the day he's your average mild-mannered Melburnian. But come nightfall, he is Ragnar, and this is Swordcraft. Swordcraft is a medieval live-action battle game and live-action roleplay where players fight with reinforced, realistic-looking foam rubber weapons and padded arrows. Think of it as paintball meets medieval fantasy battle.
My name is Patrick. I'm actually a student at AIE. You know, it's a little uni, it's good fun. I also work at the shop called Coles. But in there, I work in the deli. I've been doing that for about 5.5 years, and you know, LARP is like an escape from all of that. So I got into Swordcraft after a Supernova event where I bought my first sword, and I just thought it was some really cool little prop sword. But I then met someone who was cosplaying as a witch hunter from Warhammer. I don't know if you guys will know what that is, but Warhammer. Yeah, so I met them and they explained what LARP is and what Swordcraft is, and like, that sounds really cool. So I got one of my mates, Liam, to come down with me on a Friday night. And we did the newbie training, which is like your beginning training, and we just fell in love with it. It's so much fun. Alright, so my character for Swordcraft's name is Ragnar Eliad. He is a witch hunter who was his parents were murdered when he was at a very young age. He swore revenge on the people that killed him. He then went and sought training as a witch hunter. He then joined a war band known as the Black Beach Corsairs and became a pirate captain in their ranks. Yeah. I've been in Swordcraft for about 1.5 years now, and honestly, it is one of the greatest things I've ever got into. Like, it's a great group of people, great bunch of people to play around with every Friday night. We all come around, we get about 400 people each week. And yeah, like, since I first started, I've grown a lot with this, like, community. And you just have so much fun when you rock up. You get to be a character, you don't get to be yourself. You just get to have fun and do things you normally wouldn't get to do during your day-to-day life. At Swordcraft, they have plenty of types of weapons. They've got knives, they've got bows, they've got guns, they've got like spears, polearms, whatever, you name it, it's there. The only thing we don't have is crossbows because they're really illegal in Victoria, which sucks because crossbows are amazing. The cosplaying aspect is fun. I wouldn't exactly call it cosplay, it's more of entering your character's mindset, how your character would have been dressed in that time, and you get to enter the period a bit more, you get more immersion in the actual entire event, which is great fun, and building up a costume and armour and that is so much fun because you get to express yourself through it. If you want to participate in Swordcraft, come down on a Friday night. At the moment, we're at Brent's Oval in Parkville, and it's probably some of the most fun you'll have outdoors because sport sucks. LARP and Swordcraft is great fun. It's like sport, but it's not, and you get to hit people legally. Who doesn't love that?
What an interesting way to spend a Friday night. I've always wanted to be in a fantasy film, sword fighting, carnage, roleplay. Maybe this is the next best thing. Coming up after the break, we find out what it takes to become an artist in Melbourne. Welcome back to Melbourne 22. Now everyone knows that Melbourne is a connoisseur of art. We've got galleries, streets, sculptures, graffiti walls, forward-thinking fashions, but very few know what it takes to have your work showcased. We talked to emerging creative Cara Brooks to find out how an artist in Melbourne gets started.
My name is Cara. I am an artist, clearly. That's about it. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember, so really it was just kind of a natural progression to move into art. Yeah, I guess it just, like, you know, if something's a hobby and it's a passion and then you just keep pursuing it, try and find a way to make it your living, so yeah. I use like reductive cartooning, and I use it because The work that I used to do was really detailed and intricate and painstaking, basically, and I tried to find a way to really simplify it so that I could get the most amount of work out that I could in the shortest time possible, and then I could really focus on what I was trying to say with my work rather than the aesthetic of it. It's a general message of misanthropy and banality, and it's a lot of really dealing with my own neuroses while trying to relate to the general sort of culture of neuroses and anxiety and Gen Y and just a lot of stuff, really. It's hard. And I think you probably get that answer from a lot of artists that work in Melbourne or any Australian city, just because there's not really the funding for artists. So most artists that work as artists also have second jobs, third jobs. Like, you have to find other ways to support yourself in order to pursue your art and fund your art. Creating something that makes other people think would be art, and it's expressing something. It's, you know, like, there's a lot of times where I see a picture and I'm like, yeah, cool, that's not art. And it's because it doesn't say anything and it doesn't make anybody really consider it at a deeper level than face value. It's good to, you know, display it, obviously, and to have people see it, and especially when it's received well. But at the same time, it's also, yeah, showing the unfortunate type of person I am. So, artists that inspire me are, I guess, David Shrigley, and that's a pretty obvious one, I think, for anyone that saw that show at the NGV last year. Like, he did a similar thing with paste ups, but for a long time, I'm a huge fan of Shrigley's work. I would say Art Spiegelman and Robert Crumb and a lot of 70s like underground comics founders. Yeah. You probably can't do it, and you've got to work really freaking hard in order to make something happen, and that's the unfortunate truth. And that's, like, it sucks, but you know, you've got to really want it, and you've got to be prepared to make a hell of a lot of sacrifices, because being a starving artist isn't a myth. It's the reality of it.
Ain't that the truth? Good luck, Cara. That's some great work. No doubt becoming a full-time artist requires passion and dedication. And to talk to us about his personal experience, visual artist Matto Lucas joins us in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Now, you're a visual artist.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So I'm more of a conceptual artist, so I work across a few different mediums. So I say visual just because I don't work in sound or kind of ephemeral work, but I do work in photography, video, performance, installation, kind of anything. Yeah.
What's your favourite avenue within that?
Probably video and performance, those two that seem to go hand in hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you film people's performances?
No, I film my own.
Ooh.
So I do a lot of performance work, performance installation work, talking about body value systems and the queer male body. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk us through one of your experiences doing that.
So a few projects that I've done, one which was just at the Sunshine Coast Gallery for the New Media Prize, was Borders Tensions 2, which I finished at the start of the year, where I entered a few strangers' homes and gave them 10 minutes of uninterrupted footage where they could do whatever they wanted to my body.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was very... they were some really beautiful and interesting kind of cautious, hospitable reactions and interactions. So kind of looking at that whole queer culture of entering a stranger's house on Grindr or something and performing intimacy. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, how intimate are we talking? Obviously.
Well, that's the thing. Nothing happened. The most I got was kind of a hug and a general kind of feeling of love. But
Yeah.
it was very hospitable and very overwhelming. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I
Yeah.
would suggest.
And
What got you into doing all of this in the first place?
Well, just coming from a queer culture, trying to open up conversations about our body value systems and work that's queer and queer art that's not, you know, black and white photos of abs or something superficial, something a little bit more deep that we can open up a conversation and talk about what's really important in queer culture.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of videos going around on YouTube where people stand in the middle of a park with a blindfold on saying, you know, hug me sort of thing.
Yeah, and that stuff's really important as well. I think that's a nice bleed into kind of Marina Abramovich's 60s and 70s performance work where she gave up her body as well. And that passivity is very important. I think when you give someone free rein over your body, things can come out that you don't expect. I've just finished an installation 2 weeks ago. It was a one night only event where I let strangers, all strangers, anyone feed me as much as they wanted. So I was kind of passive and they could feed me. And, you know, some horrible things came out, force feeding and aggression and kind of, really strange, bizarre human interactions came out.
What a social experiment. What kind of things did they feed you?
So I had a few offering buckets of red wine, grapes, some cheeseburgers and some fluoro kind of Cheez-It balls. And they could pick from any of that, so yeah.
How interesting. So I guess, what does art mean to you then? What do you hope to evoke in people?
Probably a conversation. The most important thing is opening up conversations, you know, having multiple entry points in a piece of work that someone can go, oh, that's funny, or someone can go, no, hold on, let's dissect this a little bit, it's actually quite dark, or, you know, wherever people are coming from in response to it. My work isn't specifically for a queer audience, it's for everyone, but, you know, I'm talking from a queer perspective. So, yeah, just opening up conversations.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What would you advise people that are thinking of going into this sort of field? How would you advise them?
In terms of performance and video and kind of experimental, it's, you feel really weird all the time. Like, you feel like you have an idea and, or you talk to people about this thing you're going to do and you will get like, you will get a lot of, you're strange, you're weird, that's bizarre. But if there's something in you that's like, I need to make this work because I think it talks about this or it talks about that, you should just do it, because you might get one or two beautiful responses and conversations afterward about the work where people just kind of are overwhelmed and like, thank you for making that. Wow. Yeah.
So I guess some people really connect with it, don't they?
Yeah, which is really
aiming at
valuable.
those few people that really understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, that's a bonus, but it is for everyone. So, you know, I had a few people with the force feeding thing not really get the passivity of it, and kind of, it was funny and very kitsch and, you know, very interactive, but yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Have you got something coming up that we can look forward to?
I've got a group project next year where I'm looking at queer binaries and classification systems. So, yeah.
Well, we look forward to that one. Well, thank you so much, Matto Lucas, for coming in the studio to talk to us today. Coming up after the break, we explore Australia's Centre for the Moving Image and visit the Animega Expo.
As the sun goes down, hey, as the sun goes down, hey, as the sun goes down.
Right in the heart of our creative city is an institution I think you will have heard of, and if you're into cinema, then you definitely will have been there. From short films and showcases to education programs and live events, the Australian Centre for the Moving Image attracts hundreds of thousands of people every year. In fact, Ori Kelly, the Hollywood costume designer, is there at the moment. Let's take a look. The Australian Centre for the Moving Image, or ACMI, is a state-of-the-art facility purpose-built for the preservation, exhibition and promotion of Victorian, Australian and international screen content. One of the main attractions is ACMI's permanent Screen Worlds exhibition space. The Screen World space is always evolving, with different immersive displays. It explores all aspects of the moving image, using objects, footage and artistic installations. Another spot of interest at ACMI is Gallery 1 on the basement floor. It takes up the space that was once held by the Princess Bridge railway station prior to the building of Federation Square. ACMI's other touring exhibition space is Gallery 2 on the ground floor. It's a smaller, more flexible space.
Hi, I'm Linda Bernard. I'm the Collections Access Team Leader here at ACME. Obviously work in the collection, so we're standing at the Australian Mediatek. Put a lot of work and passion into preparing programs for people to come in and view for free. We've got some amazing films from the turn of the last century to contemporary works, and it's a great vibrant place to be at ACME. The view on demand in here is the easiest thing to have a look at. You basically walk in, touch a screen, you can watch anything from 1,000 movies to choose from. I suppose some of my favourite pieces in the collection are some of the historic works that we keep discovering. So there's films from the 40s and 50s that are quite delightful, that were shot in and around Melbourne and Victoria. So for me, because Melbourne's my hometown, it's quite lovely to see these wonderful older works that feature trams and Flinders Street, and they kind of have that appeal. So yeah, they're some of my favourites.
During the 2013-2014 financial year, ACME had 1.3 million visitors come through its doors, making it the second most visited museum in Australia. More information can be found about the Australian Centre for the Moving Image at their website www.acme.net.au. How cool is that? I can vouch that ACME is a brilliant day out and a great excuse to watch television and movies all day. Why not? So far tonight we've explored sword fighting, role play, artistic endeavours and the moving image. While our final story ties them all together, let's check out some highlights from this year's Animega Cosplay Convention. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks for watching. You can find out more information about tonight's stories on our Facebook page, and be sure to find us on Instagram and Twitter, #Melbourne22. To take us out, we have Inventions with their new single, I Said Goodbye. I'm Lisa Williams. See you next week, Melbourne.
Filling my eyes with things I had never seen. And in that moment, when the world was spinning, the lines they blurred and freedom I could suddenly see. So I said goodbye to the gravity below, to resistance and to every anxious thought I've ever known. That my body was weightless. The air I breathe is glowing with a silver light, and all my tears were floating around me, up and away into the light of the moon above. Goodbye to the gravity below, to resistance and to every anxious thought I've ever known. Goodbye to fear wasting me away. Thanks for all the time you spent showering me with shame. I can't stay on my own this time, and I can't stay on my own this time. Goodbye to the gravity below, to resistance and to every